Daredevil, the man without fear. Created by Stan Lee and Bill Everett in 1964, this character has been around for over 60 years, and with that has had movies, television shows, and of course, merchandise. From companies such as Toy Biz, Hasbro, Art Asylum, Diamond Select, Mezco, and of course, Mafex. Today we're going to be taking a look at all of the merchandise from the past 23 years, and we're going to have to head back to the date of 2001. From 2001 to 2006, Toy Biz and Art Asylum were creating Daredevil action figures, with the first action figure appearing in 2001 Spider-Man Classics Wave 2. This Daredevil had a yellow chase variant figure that is now not that common, but back in the day was pretty common. And right here is the Spider-Man Classics Daredevil. This Daredevil figure included a display stand, a comic book, and of course, his billy clubs, which this figure used in nunchuck form. If you can't already tell, the figure actually had pinless elbows and knees. This is something that Hasbro today has deemed as an innovation, despite it having been pretty commonplace 23 years before their quote-unquote innovation in 2020. Now, the figure has a lot of the articulation we see today, including double-jointed knees and double-jointed elbows. The figure also has toe joints and hand joints. Toy Biz was pretty big on the hand joints. These hand joints, which allowed Daredevil innovation by Toy Biz, allowed Daredevil, in which Toy Biz opted to go for the nunchuck form of the weapons. As you can see right here, the nunchucks are held together by a string, which after 20 years are still holding strong. In terms of modern collecting, the figure is a bit shorter, as you can see, compared to the Mafex Spider-Man and the Hasbro Super Articulated Daredevil from the 3-pack. It is a bit short, the proportions are a bit odd, but it did come with great accessories, a good head sculpt for back in the day. I'd say it's a pretty solid figure, but not the best. In 2002, Toy Biz gave us our first Marvel Legends series Daredevil with the Series 3 Daredevil movie figure. It also had a bearded variant. The figure came with a comic book, a display stand, and of course, those iconic Billy Club nunchucks. Now, the Ben Affleck figure was a bit odd because it had a beautiful head sculpt that to this day still holds up. It's still one of the best head sculpts we've ever received on a movie figure from a domestic figure publisher. However, the figure is a bit dated. It has not so great articulation. As you can see, the arms are on a swivel. They can do a 360 rotation. It does have those finger joints just like the Spider-Man Classics Daredevil, but it can't hit all the poses you would want from a Daredevil figure. Unfortunately, like most of the fans' perception of the movie, this figure is not great. This is the only action figure that the 2003 movie got, and it is a shame, especially because the movie wasn't that bad, but also I feel like a good figure could have really helped collectors' perception of the movie. However, the nunchucks were incredible. They had really fine detailing on them, even sculpts on the end of them, just like in the movie, but they also featured a real metal chain link connecting the two, which is really cool to see. Still something we have not seen to this day. Unfortunately, these nunchucks were prone to warping. As you can see, mine are a little warped. However, they just go right into the figure's hand. You can hold on to them, easy peasy, no problems there. But unfortunately, you can't get a very good two-handed pose with it just because of how the articulation is set up on this figure. It's unfortunate because at the time, we had the Spider-Man series figures from the movie, and then a few years later, we even got the Spider-Man 2 figures, which were just chock full of articulation, as you can see right here, compared to my Kit Bash Spider-Man 2 Tobey Maguire figure. The Daredevil figure is lacking in the articulation department. Despite a pretty good sculpt, despite accurate colors, it is just not holding up well compared to the Spider-Man figure. I'd like to say this is a good figure, but it's not. You can even see that with the size comparison compared to the Mafex Spider-Man and the Hasbro Daredevil. In 2003, Toy Biz released the Marvel Legends Urban Legends 4-pack, as well as the Spider-Man Classics Daredevil. Now, this Daredevil from the 4-pack and the single release are the same mold, but different paint apps. And the Urban Legends one that I'm showing here is just chock full of shading detail. It is incredible. I mean, the amount of paintwork that went into this guy, which is kind of shocking considering how dark he is, but it is just a red figure with shading put all over it. It's incredible. This figure does not have articulated hands. However, it does have, once again, the billy clubs with the string in it. And this string is long. He can swing, and the billy club has the hook on it, just like in the comic books. So he could really grapple around. And that was a play feature from the Spider-Man Classics version of this figure. It is a super articulated figure. It's got all of the articulation you can want. It's got the head that can look around. It has got the arms that go all the way up. It's even got the butterfly joints that go up instead of side to side, which is interesting. I don't know what's going on there. It has got a rotation at the upper bicep. It has got the double jointed elbows. It has got a rotation in the arm. It's got hinges at the wrist. It has got an ab crunch that is pretty good on this guy considering its age. It has also got a swivel at the waist. It's got the legs that go up and backwards, the double jointed knees, the hinge at the swivel at the calf, as well as the ever so subtle ankle rocker, as well as those beloved toe joints. Now, this figure could get into just about any pose you wanted him in. Truly, this was Toy Biz's best Daredevil figure, except for maybe that head sculpt. But again, like I mentioned earlier, this figure did not need articulated fingers because those hands will not let go of these billy clubs. And just look how much string this is. Oh my Lord. They gave you enough string to really hang this guy from the ceiling and get something awesome in your display going. But these billy clubs just go right into the holster, and this is an interesting figure because this is one of the only Daredevil figures, I believe there's two, that the billy clubs go on the right thigh and not the left thigh. Daredevil in the comics is left-handed, but this figure has got the holster for those billy clubs on his right side, which is really neat. The figure poses well. It looks decent in a standard vanilla pose, but it also looks good next to other Toy Biz figures, such as the super articulated Spider-Man Classics black suit figure. Just look at how good these two look. That is incredible. That is marvelous. They look sensational together. It is amazing. It is daring. I love the way that this figure looks with other Toy Biz figures. It belongs together and it looks fantastic. In terms of modern figures, again, I'm comparing it to the Mafex Spider-Man and the Hasbro Daredevil. And it looks goofy, but that's just how Toy Biz figures were, and I love it for that. It is an incredible figure. My only gripe with it is probably that head sculpt is a little wonky looking. In 2003, Art Asylum would release their first wave of Marvel Minimates, and within that first wave, you had the red classic suit of Daredevil, and you had the original first appearance yellow suit of Daredevil. And then in 2004, with Wave 4, they released a Battle Damaged Daredevil and an unmasked variant of that Battle Damaged Daredevil. And they just threw these Daredevils in everything. Here he is in a 5-pack, a single release. Here he is with the original Daredevil and Kingpin 2-pack. Here you can see the Battle Damaged Daredevil and Bullseye, the unmasked variant with the Bullseye. And you can see the Battle Damaged version in this 10-pack. And these Minimate figures were incredible. Let's take a look at the Wave 1 first appearance Daredevil first. As you can see, it is a very vibrant, very eye-catching yellow, almost neon yellow. It is incredible. This guy's got great articulation, great detail. They went with the yellow and accurate black costume with the red detailing within that black. You can see the sticks are yellow, which is not entirely accurate to the first appearance, but I'll let it slide. But yeah, you could tell these are Art Asylum Minimates and not the Select Minimates, because these Minimates do not have peg holes at the bottom of their feet, and in their heads and masks, they don't have the peg and peg holes that you're used to seeing with modern Minimates. But right here, you can see this Battle Damaged Daredevil Minimate. He just looks incredible. Here you could see that he has no hole in the top of his head or peg in the mask. That's how you can tell they are Art Asylum Minimates. But yeah, the figure just looks incredible. He's got great detail. Again, this one has the red nunchucks. Great articulation on these. They're a step up from Lego in terms of the articulation department, not necessarily the nostalgia value or the collectability factor or value, whatever you want to say. These are truly great. You can put the nunchucks in the holster, I should say the billy clubs in the holster. These billy clubs are super easy to lose. It's my only gripe with the Art Asylum and select minimates is that you are constantly losing the clubs. However, I feel that these minimates were fantastic for their time and they only get better. In 2006, we would see Toy Biz's last hurrah with the Daredevil character in their Marvel Legends Face-Off Series 1 2-pack featuring Daredevil and Kingpin. There was also an unmasked Daredevil variant with a black-suited Kingpin. As you can see right here, most collectors, including myself, prefer the original release. Please excuse my crusty Kingpin. I've had that since I was a child. But let's take a look at that Daredevil figure. It has got a good head sculpt, super good paint detail. I really love, even though it's not entirely accurate, I love when companies do the bright red costume with dark red accents for the gloves, the boots, the belts. It looks super good. This figure has got some weird butterfly effects in that butterfly in the armpit area. It looks super goofy, and this Daredevil also has the holster back on the left side, but this holster is for the first time not attached to the figure. It is free floating. The figure again has the stringed nunchucks. These nunchucks are a lot larger than the previous ones. But this figure can pose, man. He can pose. He's got all the articulation you need. He's a mix of the first release as well as the more recent Urban Legends release at the time. Right here, you can see him. He can get into all sorts of poses. He's got the finger joints back once again. He has got the toe joints. He can really just move around. Is he the best looking? No. Is he over sculpted? In my opinion, a little bit, but he is nostalgic. He is incredible. The only thing with this Daredevil figure, because again, he's got great articulation. The only problem with this figure, I remember from back in the day, is that this figure in those weird armpit butterfly joints that went up, the arms would snap off of those a lot because it is held in there with a metal pin. So it's why I'm not trying to force the articulation right here, but he's got those fingers that can move. He looks super good. He can pose. He can get him into a good fighting stance. He can do everything you want a Daredevil to be able to do. And I think he is incredible for that. I don't think he is the best Toy Biz Daredevil figure, but I do think he is the second best. He is a very solid figure overall. Here you can see the face-off Daredevil with the Mafex Spider-Man and the Hasbro Daredevil in that Renew Your Vows body. And as you can see, the proportions are just not there, although it does have a far superior paint application than the Hasbro Daredevil. I don't think it's better. I don't think it's the best Toy Biz Daredevil, but it is phenomenal regardless. While that was the last 6-inch scale Toy Biz Daredevil, it was not the last Daredevil Toy Biz put out. They put out the Marvel Legends Showdown Daredevil figures. I said Series 6, but it is Series 4, I promise. They put out the red figure and the yellow figure. The whole premise behind these figures is that they were intended to be part of a game in which you had cards. Each figure came with a missile launcher. There were dice. In terms of how you played the game, I never figured it out because I always played with the figures, and these figures are interesting. So these are technically the first super articulated 3 3/4 inch scale figures, although they are closer to 4-inch scale. Most of the figures from this line, maybe not most, a lot of them were based on their 6-inch counterpart sculpts. This Daredevil, however, was not based on a 6-inch counterpart, which makes me think that maybe Toy Biz was making another 6-inch Daredevil and they just never got around to it. Regardless, this figure's got pretty good movement. He's got a ball joint in the head, actually a dumbbell joint in the head, although the head articulation is lacking. These figures are super fragile. The legs and the arms are held on by ball joints. I think that was part of the game where you could flick fire the missiles at the other figure and cause their joints to come apart. But man, look at this. You can see how easily those just pop off. But look at the yellow Daredevil. He has got shading on him at such a small scale. He's got the billy clubs painted in the holster, although they are not removable. You cannot take those out. He does need to have gripping hands for them. But the figure is incredible. He can move around. It is not the best 3 3/4 inch Daredevil, but these are definitely up there in terms of that scale for Daredevil collectors interested in a smaller Daredevil. These are great options for that. The figure, again, this was from Wave 4. This was the last wave. So when they came out in 2006 is up in the air because like all the other figures in the series, it was hard to really pinpoint when they came out. Right here, you can see the Series 1 Spider-Sense Spider-Man and how he kind of compares to him in terms of scale. I think these two figures scale pretty well. The Spider-Man's a little lanky. That's all right. A lot of people love this Spider-Man figure. It is probably the most well-known figure from this line. But yeah, the Daredevil looks great next to him. You can see the Daredevil, as well as other figures from the line, kind of have a problem with the plastic starting to fade in certain places, or it gets this weird transparent kind of look. Here is the Elektra from Series 3, and man, this Daredevil looks rough. She does not look good. She does not hold up in today's standards at all. I'm even going to show her. Look at that ugly mug. Oh my lord, poor Matt. And she's hard as hell to stand too. But she does look decent next to Daredevil. Overall, good figures. So in 2006, Art Asylum would put out their last Daredevil 2-pack with the Target exclusive Marvel Knights Daredevil and Ghost Rider 2-pack. The Daredevil is probably the best one they put out. He's got the most detailing. However, the figure was kind of a reddish-orange compared to the red we'd seen with the Wave 1 and 4 Daredevil. Probably the best one they put out, but this is the last Daredevil that came out under the Minimates brand, under Art Asylum, before Select took over. From 2007 to 2015, Hasbro would take over the Marvel Legends line, and Diamond Select would take over the Minimates line from Art Asylum. And with this, we got to see a myriad of new figures, some good, some bad. The first figure we get to see from the new companies was the 2007 Diamond Select Minimates SDCC exclusive, 2007 exclusive Zombie Daredevil and Zombie Giant Man 2-pack. And this Daredevil is far more detailed than the old one. It has got detailing on the legs, on the shins, on the back. It's got a transparent torso because, of course, in the comics, he gets in a fight. That's all I'll say on that matter. But you can see now on this guy, he has got the peg holes on the feet. And if we take off the cowl, he has got hair printed on him, but he also has the peg hole on his head, which I'm just going to go ahead and put that cowl back on because he looks kind of scary. But yeah, he came with the billy clubs again. They're still using the same holster setup, but man, the detail on this figure is incredible. It is fantastic to see. And believe it or not, this 2-pack is not rare. You could still get this 2-pack, I believe, for under $20 today. I got mine for $7 in 2020, which is just great to see. The next Daredevil figure will not come out until 2009 with the Hasbro Marvel Legends Nemesis Build-A-Figure Wave Daredevil, and its yellow Walmart exclusive variant. And man, I'm going to be honest with you. This was during the dark age of Marvel Legends, and it shows. I'll go straight into the positives. I think this figure has got a pretty good sculpt. I like the sculpted D's. I like the sculpted belt. I think the head sculpt is pretty nice. That's as nice as I could really be with this figure. The paint apps were pretty good. I like the yellows they used. I like the dark brown, even though it's not black. I think that looks good too. Right here you can see the head. But man, this figure has articulation issues, and I feel like that was Hasbro's biggest problem back in the day, was 1, scaling, and 2, articulation. This figure is unpleasant to move. Like, just bending the joints feels weird. They are oddly stuck. They just don't feel fun to move, especially at the hips. They were using those really weird hips back in the day. I'm glad Hasbro finally moved away from those. But man, this was a really weird figure. Even though it is aesthetically probably the cleanest figure, it is not the best. It was, in my opinion, a downgrade from what Toy Biz had been doing. Even with the nunchucks right here, you can only have him hold it in one hand, which is the right hand. Again, we've got the string, but the nunchucks were small. Some people think that's more accurate. I don't really care. But the figure was just weird. I don't think it was a good figure. I think it was, dare I say, this yellow version was a bad figure. I feel like the red version is slightly better only because the red paint apps look so clean. But a fun fact is, technically, this Daredevil is comic accurate. The double D's in issue number 5 and 6, Daredevil has the double D's on his chest. And here you can see him next to the Mafex Spider-Man, as well as the Hasbro Daredevil. Despite not having any sculpted detail, I do feel like the modern Hasbro Daredevil is a lot better. Just in terms of articulation. The articulation and the scale makes the figure a lot better today. In 2009, Diamond Select would come out with their second Daredevil mini-mate in Wave 29. This Daredevil is paired with a Moon Knight figure, which is ridiculously expensive, but taking a closer look at the armored Daredevil mini-mate, this is the only armored Daredevil mini-mates is done, and I feel like it holds up to this day. The paint is super clean on here. The silvers are super shiny. The reds look decent. They don't look as armored as some other figures out there, but it looks good. He has the silver batons, which I did lose one of them. I did mention earlier they're easy to lose. This is one of the ones I lost one for. But yeah, the figure just looks good. It's a good interpretation of the suit from the 90s. I really enjoy this figure. It's probably, I'd put it in my top 5 favorite Daredevil mini-mates, but it is a really solid mini-mate nonetheless. It is a good figure. In 2009, we would get Marvel Universe, the 3.75 scale series of figures. In Series 1, Wave 1, we would get a Daredevil, and we'd get a variant for Daredevil with dark red and light red, which looks like some of the comic book work. But as you can see right here, I have a new in the box Series 1, Wave 1 Daredevil, which I hate to do it. The card is not mint. And I've always wanted to play with this figure, even though it is something I'll get to later. There is nothing incredibly special about this figure at all. So I'm going to open it from the bottom. I'm going to be very careful not to ruin the card because I want to try to keep the card. I would like to put the figure back in the card. So 1, 2, 3, yank. Oh, clean. This was at the very beginning of the line, so there was no secret shield file with this figure. There was no base plate. It was just the figure and the figure's nunchucks. And the figure looks chunky. He looks like a chunky boy. Once we remove the figure, the nunchucks get stuck in there, and he's got a good grip on the nunchucks, I'll say that, but man, he looks not so good. The joints are stiff, which after, 15 years, 16 years, I would hope they're still good, but the nunchucks out of the package have some paint loss from the figure gripping them. They're just a piece of plastic. They don't really move the way you would want nunchucks to move. They've got a nice shade of red on them. They're silver painted red. But the figure doesn't have a place to store the nunchucks other than his hand. So that's where they're going to stay. But man, moving the figure around is a bit difficult. He doesn't want to move very much. He's gummy. That may be from being in there for a long time, but who knows. The figure can move around and get into some decent poses, but the biggest problem with the Marvel Universe line, and it was what the creators of it were trying to go for, was the kind of reuse of sculpts. And with those reuse of sculpts, it did not work well for every figure. This Daredevil uses the same body as a Bullseye figure, as a Union Jack figure, as a lot of other figures, as a Moon Knight figure even. And I think maybe there was even a Black Panther or a Punisher on this body. But yeah, the figure, once you get him going, he moves around a lot better, but it's kind of hard to get him into a good pose. He looks awkward. He's got broad shoulders. His neck it's like a tree trunk going up. He's got a small head. He's got wide hips. The shade of red is really nice. I will say that. I really like the shade of red. But as a figure, 15, 16 years later, I don't think it is a good figure, especially compared to what other figures we have out there. He's a pain to get to stand, and I'm going to compare him to my Moon Knight figure I have. I've had this Moon Knight loose for a while. They've got the same hands, even though the left one's a wide open hand, the right one is a gripping hand. But yeah, it is the same exact body. And continuing with the we've got the 2009 Marvel Universe Toys R Us 70th anniversary exclusive figure. It is not great. It's got some good shading on it. Other than that, there's nothing to talk about this figure. It is the same exact figure, just different colors. In 2011, Minimates Wave 38, we would get a Shadowland, Daredevil, and Elektra 2-pack. This was at the time we had the Shadowland comic arc going on in the comics, in which Daredevil becomes the leader of the Hand. He becomes kind of evil, and this figure is a great representation of the artwork from that comic book. He looks good. He has got the blades on his forearm. He's got the billy clubs. He's got the one random wrap around his leg. He has the larger horns on his helmet, and unfortunately this helmet was reused with all the future Daredevils. Part of the Shadowland Daredevil design is that he had longer, crazier looking horns. Diamond Select, I just kind of like this helmet and continue to reuse it for future figures. But other than that, not much detail. It's a good mini-mate. I like it a lot. It is a good representation of the character. Also in 2011, Marvel Universe Hasbro would release their own Shadowland Daredevil in their Series 4 Wave 13. This figure was on a new body. He looked good. He had some good paint detail, some good shading. Not the best 3/4 inch figure, but definitely a step up from their previous 2009 Wave 1 figures. In 2011, we would also get the Marvel Universe Greatest Battles 2-packs. This one is the Daredevil and Bullseye 2-pack, and I've already got one opened. I did not want to open the one I had mint in the card. These figures share the same body mold again, but the body mold is so much better. Get Bullseye out of the way. We're looking at Daredevil. This is a great figure. He is the best 3 3/4 inch scale Daredevil figure. The figure has got the billy clubs for the first time. They're not in their nunchuck configuration from Hasbro or Toy Biz. That is the first time we see that with any Hasbro or Toy Biz figure. He's got a ball jointed head. He's got, up and down. He looks good. Shoulders go all the way around. They go out. He is not as gummy as the original one. You can move the elbows. It's only got a single joint, a single hinge, but it goes farther than 90 degrees. He's got hinged hands. Kind of that ball joint at the diaphragm. He's got a swivel at the waist. The belt is connected to the holster on his thigh. He's got a thigh cut. He's got double jointed knees, swivel at the calf. He's got rocker joints on the feet where they can, I guess it's like a peg that rocks around, but yeah, it's a good figure. And comparatively, you can see just how much better this one looks, even though I think the red looks not as good as the Wave 1 Daredevil. Overall, the figure looks incredibly superior. Even the nunchucks, we can take a look at that. He cannot hold the old nunchucks, in case you were curious. They do not sit in his hand well. But these new nunchucks would do something that the later Marvel Legends Daredevils would do, and that is connect together. This is also the first time we see connecting nunchucks for a Daredevil figure post-2001. Super incredible, fun play feature with this figure. He's just a solid figure. He is a beast. He is a top 5 Daredevil figure of all time. Of course, he's got the billy club holster. You could put the billy clubs in there. The only issue with doing that is that it does stretch out that rubbery material of the holster. So I never keep mine stored in there, just for trying to keep the figure as good as I can for as long as I can. Those billy clubs are going to stay in his hands. In terms of how he scales with the other 3 3/4 inch figures, this guy is going to be a solid size. Let's just set him down right here. And yeah, he just looks good in all poses. He looks good vanilla pose. He looks good in an action pose. He looks so much better vanilla pose than that original Marvel Universe figure. I mean, look at how much bigger he is too. Like, the proportions are better, but also his overall height is better. So he's winning everything except probably the color competition, because he is a very dark red. But even with that, I mean, the sculpt's better. Everything about this figure is probably better. I'm grabbing my Toy Biz Marvel Legends Showdown Daredevil, and he is slightly taller. But yeah, this guy is, I think this Hasbro figure is probably perfect for 3 1/4 inch scale. Up next, Diamond Select would re-release this Daredevil figure twice, once in Wave 39 with a Sin Eater figure, and once as a Toys R Us exclusive Wave 13 Daredevil and Kingpin 2-pack. Here you can see that Wave 13 assortment. There he is with Sin Eater, and this Minimates Daredevil might be, I think it's the second best Minimates Daredevil figure if we're talking strictly comics. He has got the shading on the upper torso and the helmet. He has got the glasses on. That's because it comes with a Matt Murdock hairpiece. This figure came with 2 white billy clubs, but unfortunately I lost the other one. He also came with a billy club on a string, so you could actually have him grapple. And unfortunately I did not have access to that while I was filming. But yeah, this is just a very good mini-mate. I think it's the second best comic book Daredevil mini-mate they've made. He's in my top 3 favorite Daredevil mini-mates. I think it's a very solid figure, and I'm glad we got this figure twice, because it gives fans the opportunity to get it more often than they would if they'd only got released once. So that is another Minimates W right there. In 2013, Minimates would release the Best of wave. In their second wave, it had Daredevil and Venom in a 2-pack for whatever reason. This is the best Minimates Daredevil. He's got the shading. He has got the bright red suit with the dark red boots and gloves. It is incredible. 10 out of 10. The year is 2015. Marvel Legends is back on top. They are getting better. And as part of the Hobgoblin build the figure wave, we got a Daredevil figure. And this Daredevil had a dark red suit with the brighter red boots and gloves. It was a solid figure. He came with the nunchucks. Actually, not nunchucks, the billy clubs that combined into a miniature bow staff. I've never understood what it's supposed to be. The figure was re-released in 2015 as part of a Walgreens exclusive first appearance figure. This Walgreens exclusive figure came with an unmasked Matt Murdock head sculpt. I don't like the colors of it. However, they're solid figures. Unfortunately, they do reuse that Bucky Cat mold, and it is something we're going to see again and again in the coming figures. In 2015, Marvel Infinite Series, which was their 3.75-inch line, would release an armored Daredevil figure. And after we had such a peak Daredevil figure, they decided to release this guy. And this guy has got beautiful paint apps. It has got a beautiful shade of red. It's got a newly sculpted head. The entire figure is a new sculpt. Beautiful silvers, beautiful reds, but the figure sucks. I'll say it outright. It's got less articulation, less overall movement. There's less you can do with this figure than the previous ones. It is, in my opinion, you can't even move the wrists. That's how bad this is. No torso articulation. I'm trying to think of where I'd place it against the other quarter-inch figures, because it's got less articulation than the Wave 1 one, and the legs just pop off. Like, this figure's got QC issues. I'd say this is probably the second worst 3/4-inch Daredevil figure out there. There's only one more that I would rank worse than this figure. This is not, in my opinion, this is a bad figure with beautiful paint apps, but a bad figure. It cannot do anything, especially in 2015. I don't know what they were thinking. In the next wave of Marvel Infinite Series, or maybe it was the Legends 3.75, they changed the name halfway through it. They would re-release the Greatest Battles 2-pack Daredevil because it is so peak. It had the same exact paint apps. It was an incredible figure. Sorely needed to wash that sour taste out of our mouths after that disgraceful armored Daredevil figure. It is a 10 out of 10 again. After a rough 8 years, thanks to Hasbro, from 2016 to 2024, and even present day in 2025, we have Hasbro, Diamond Select, Lego, Mezco Toyz, and Mafex all making Daredevil figures, and they are putting out some peak products right now. Let's go ahead and just hop into what they've been putting out in this time period. First, with the 2016 Marvel Legends 3.75-inch Wave 2 Yellow Daredevil, it reuses that peak body mold. There's not much to say because they use the peak body mold, but colors could have been better, but it is a good figure nonetheless. In 2016, Minimates would release an SDCC exclusive Netflix Daredevil and Punisher 2-pack based off of Season 2 of Daredevil, and man, 2016 was such a peak year for both collecting and for movies and television. We had Arrow, we had Civil War, Batman vs. Superman, The Flash, and of course, Daredevil Season 2. This was the first time that Minimates had done a live-action Daredevil, and of course, they used the GOAT Charlie Cox. And this Minimate is fantastic. He's got an all-new sculpted cowl. He has got billy clubs that I may have lost. I may or may not have lost those ones, so he's using some generic red ones. But he's got the holster. He had interchangeable parts for a Matt Murdock, I think, hairpiece in this set. He came with a really good Punisher, which unfortunately I don't have. I only have the Daredevil figure. But yeah, he's a good figure, and I'm glad that this was our first Charlie Cox Daredevil action figure. This was the first one that got released, and I am so happy it was by the goats over there at Diamond Select in the Minimates department. Big love to y'all. But absolutely incredible little figure right here. 10 out of 10. Great figure. Definitely a good figure. Of course, Diamond Select said, hold my beer, and they did it again with the Netflix Season 1 4-pack, which featured the Vigilante Daredevil. This figure also came with alternative parts to turn it into a Matt Murdock in his lawyer attire, but man, this is a good figure. It can double as your Man Without Fear Daredevil mini-mate, but of course it is based off Charlie Cox. We can take off the mask right here to see that Charlie Cox head underneath there with his glasses. He did come with 2 of these sticks, but I did lose one. But they go right there in the holster. Maybe that's where I just need to keep these sticks, is in the holster. But yeah, there's not much going on with it. It's a black figure. It's got some detail throughout it. But yeah, it is a solid mini-mate, and it looks so good when you post them up like that. I don't know what it is with these mini-mates, but man, even the simple poses, these things are gas. I absolutely love this mini-mate. It is another banger. And trust me, buddy, I know bangers. Now, this looks like a good job for me, so everybody just follow me because we need some controversy because it feels so empty without me. Here comes 2016, Mezco Toyz New York Comic Con exclusive, Shadowland Daredevil, and this is where controversy amongst modern collectors begins, because if you collect right now, you know how controversial Mezco is as a figure maker, which is kind of ridiculous, but we're going to see why with this figure. So this was one of their first Marvel figures they put out, and it's essentially the same figure as the red version that they'd later come out with, but this figure had some issues. Same with the red one. The plastic leathery material they used throughout the figure kind of cracks over time. You can see some of the wear on the knees and torsos and really around any joints. The cloth bunches up. They hadn't really found their sweet spot yet. They're really experimenting here. This, of course, is supposed to be based off Shadowland, but I don't think it looks like Shadowland all that much. It kind of looks like the stealth suit from the Charles Soule run. Regardless, I think it's a good figure. I like it. A lot of people may not like it. This figure catches a lot of flack, as do most Mezcos, but he comes with an assortment of hands. He's got these 2 kind of pointing hands, but of course he comes with some wide open hands. This is the first Daredevil to come with alternative hands as well, which is another another milestone for Daredevil figures, is that this is technically the first Daredevil. Not technically, it is the first Daredevil to come with alternative hands, and they are hard to put on. But here, I've got one of his wide open hands, and yes, that is blue tack, you see, because this Daredevil was notorious for breaking at the shoulder pads, which was another reason why Mezco became so controversial with their figures as a whole. But this is not about them. This is about Daredevil. The figure, I think, looks good. He's got decent articulation for a guy for a figure wearing a cloth suit. He's got pretty good articulation. I like the colors they used throughout the figure. I like the red they used for kind of like those belts on his. They are belts around his torso, and the billy club holster and the gauntlets on the figure. And this figure can move surprisingly well. I mean, here you can see him kind of kicking up. Of course, he's got billy clubs. He's got billy clubs with a wire. The figure is a bit old, so he's kind of coming a little loose. But the figure really lacks in the feet articulation department. It is hard to get this guy into a crouching pose. I'm trying so hard to right here, and it is just not working well. It is not working well at all. But yeah, you can kind of see more armor on the elbows. This is their own design, which I really like about Mezco's. They used to go all in on their own designs. You've got the cowl, which has got different plates of armor around it. You've got red eyes on that face, on the mask. This figure did not come with an unmasked head, although the red and yellow ones did. This figure did not. It is a solid figure. I'd say a solid 7 out of 10. Here he is next to Mayfix Spider-Man and the Hasbro Daredevil. I'd say he's a decent figure. In 2016, Minimates would introduce their greatest hits line. This was a 2-pack with Daredevil and Punisher, and it is the same Daredevil that came packaged with the Venom, which is super good because it's a great figure. 10 out of 10. Continued. We're about to go back-to-back with these two Mezco figures. We've got the red Daredevil. This was the basic one that came out. This figure had a lot more cracking than the black one did around this pleathery part of the suits. Came with a battle-damaged head sculpt and an unmasked head sculpt that the Shadowland one did not. Came with a nice display stand as well. The yellow one, again, came with the same exact head sculpts, although this one did not have all the extra armor bits. I think these two are perfectly good figures. They're fine. Solid 7 out of 10s as well. Let's continue on to Minimates again. Minimates would come out in 2017 with their Daredevil Season 2 4-pack featuring Stick, Elektra, Karen Page, and of course, Daredevil from the hallway scene. And this figure is incredible. I mean, look at that mask. He has got the black with the crack on it. He's got the blood coming out of his mouth. He's got that hand that has the revolver duct tape to it, which is just super cool to see. Yeah, the figure does not feature a billy club holster because he doesn't have billy clubs, but he does have that chain wrapped around his other arm. This figure can get into all sorts of devious poses. If you remember the hallway scene, this Matt was just wrecking everybody. And I am so thankful that Minimates decided to give us a good, honestly, just a good Minimate, but also a good figure based off that scene. Because this is the only figure accurate to that scene out of any company, even though Diamond Select with their Marvel Select line, which I'm not covering, did have a Daredevil that came with the elevator from that scene. The Daredevil that was included with that elevator backdrop was not from from that hallway scene specifically. So I'm thankful for Minimates for making this figure. In 2017, Marvel Legends would release the Man-Thing Build-A-Figure wave, which finally gave us Netflix figures, and the most anticipated one amongst them all was definitely this Daredevil figure. Unfortunately, they chose the costume from Season 1, which was only featured on, I think, 4 or 5 episodes of Daredevil. But nonetheless, I'm super thankful to have it. The figure is just covered in sculpted detail. The first non-comic Legends Daredevil since the 2002 Marvel Legends Toy Biz Affleck figure. So super cool to see another live-action Daredevil join his ranks, at least for the the Legends line. But yeah, this Mac could square up. He's got a similar articulation set to the Bulky Cat mold, but he just feels a lot more posable. The figure would come with some accessories, including, of course, those billy clubs, but also you'd come with some gripping hands. No unmasked head with this figure. And these billy clubs just fit into their holster right there. One was larger than the other, which is accurate to the show. They just kind of clip together like that to create that longer billy club like he had in the show, which is super nice to see. The figure has no problems kind of holding on to this. I'm going to go ahead and swap out one of the hands real quick so we can show you guys what it looks like with that in there. But yeah, I mean, this figure is super nostalgic. This was the last figure I bought from Toys R Us before Toys R Us shut down, which is sad. It's sad, but I'm glad it was the GOAT. That's why he's the MVP. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT! But yeah, no, this is a good figure. It is a shame that Hasbro's not gone off their butts and made a Season 2 suit, because if they did, they could make an Echo Daredevil figure, a She-Hulk Daredevil figure, a Bullseye figure, but they just don't seem to be that smart. But overall, this is a good figure. Even if mine is a little loose, I still love it to death. Very solid figure on Hasbro's part. I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. And here he is next to Mayfix Spider-Man and the Hasbro Renew Your Vows body mold Daredevil. The scale as well, solid figure overall. We're going to continue with the Marvel Legends SDCC exclusive Defenders 5-pack. And this was finally the Charlie Cox figure that came with a Daredevil figure that came with the Charlie Cox head. And the head sculpt is the better of the two Charlie Cox head sculpts they've given us. I'll say that right now. I'm glad that we got it. It's unfortunate that it was held hostage in this 5-pack, especially because most people wanted the 5-pack only for the head sculpt as well as the Iron Fist and Colleen Wing figure. But I think it's just a really good figure because it's the same exact figure as the one I just discussed. In 2018, with the Marvel Legends Spider Wave, we would get a stealth suit Daredevil, again on the Bucky Cap mold, but this figure would have new boots and hand wraps. It was a solid figure, solid 7 out of 10, good figure overall. Again, in 2018, we get another Bucky Cap Daredevil in the Defenders Amazon exclusive 4-pack. This Daredevil figure in particular was a bright red with a dark red boots and gloves, which looks super nice. Although with this figure, I've seen a lot of these figures have discoloration between the torso and the rest of the figure. Despite that though, I still think the Daredevil figure is good, solid 7 out of 10. Let's continue on to minimates. In 2018, we'd get another stealth suit Daredevil. This is part of Minimates Wave 75. This Daredevil is packed in with a Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider figure. They called this the Marvel Now Daredevil. I call it the stealth suit. This is probably the most accurate one we've seen, even though we only really get, in terms of figures, this Minimate and the Legends. I feel like this one is much more accurate because it's got holsters on both legs. But regardless, it's a good Minimate. He's got the billy clubs, which goes right into the holsters, even though I always seem to struggle with that. But yeah, I adore this Minimate. I'd say this one's also my top 3 Minimates that I personally own. Nothing's gonna beat that season 2 Daredevil with the chain. But yeah, this guy is definitely in there for sure. I love this guy. Thank you, Minimates. Up next is the 2019 Mezco Toyz Netflix Daredevil based off his Season 2 look, and this figure is incredible. I absolutely adore this figure. I know Mezco has some controversies. This isn't their best figure. It is my favorite figure from Mezco Toyz. It's got the billy clubs that come apart. It's got alternate hands, alternate heads. And the interesting thing about these billy clubs is they're thinner than the Marvel Legends ones. They have more detail and they're about the same length, but they both come apart the same exact fashion. They go back together in the same way. They've got the same holster on the leg. But yeah, no, let's stop focusing on billy clubs and go back to that Daredevil figure because this guy is peak. I absolutely love this figure. He has got a great head sculpt right here. He's just got so much detail in him. He's got these weird rubbery forearms, but he's got range throughout the entire figure despite how restrictive the cloth is on him. He can move around pretty well. I mean, you can get him some really cool poses. Jumping on somebody about to punch a pose. I don't know. Maybe he's flying. He's flying Daredevil. He's jumping out to attack somebody. I don't know. But yeah, you just get him to some good poses very easily once you know how to play around with this figure and get around the restrictiveness with that cloth. I think it's a really, really good figure. Something very popular a lot of collectors do. They'll take off their Legends head and they will pop a Mezco head onto their Legends figure. That has been very popular over the recent years. That's part of the reason why I think the Mezco Daredevil went up in price so much is because Legends collectors just wanted the head for their Legends figure. Personally, I think it looks fine. I don't think that I prefer it over the Legends head. I prefer the Mezco head on the Mezco body because it matches the rest of the Season 2 suit, and that head is a Season 2 cowl. It's different than the one that the Legends cowl is. But regardless, I think this is a very solid figure. I've loved this figure since I bought it when it came out in 2019. It's still in my top 5 favorite Daredevil figures to this day. I don't feel like anything's going to take it out of that top 5 spot anytime soon because this figure is nostalgic. If you've known me for any sort of time, you will know how much this figure means to me, and I love it. But the other great thing with this figure is that Mezco didn't just drop their Daredevil. They dropped a Punisher to go with it, and these two look incredible together. They look so good. I'm so glad Charlie Cox and John Bernthal are back for Born Again. And I'm so glad we got to see them in season 2. But yeah, and for those wondering, the Netflix Defender's head does not fit on this figure. Don't even try it. It's not worth the time. But yeah, I feel like this is a really special figure, at least for me. 10 out of 10. In 2019, alongside their Netflix Daredevil, they released this PX exclusive Vigilante Netflix Daredevil based off the season 1 look, and this figure was controversial, without a doubt. So many people were excited for this figure, and it fell flat for a lot of them due to the articulation. Now, the sculpt on the head looks great. He even comes with a bloodied up head sculpt right here with blood coming out of his nose and mouth and up by his eye. It is incredible. You can just swap them out. It is unfortunately connected at the neck, which was one source of controversy because I didn't want to break up the sculpt. The figure came with 2 sticks. These wooden sticks are plastic, but they warp like wood. The figure can hold them no problem. But one of the biggest sources of controversy with this figure was the Joker body that Mezco reused from their Joker figure. It is a single jointed elbow, goes to like just about 90 degrees. And then the way the cloth kind of hugs the figure, especially around the upper diaphragm joint, kind of makes him look like he's starved to death, which he's not. But the figure also does have an issue where sometimes when you're posing it, the upper diaphragm of the upper chest can pop off from the rest of the figure, and you've got to pop it back into place with the cloth. Regardless, though, I feel like for season 1 Daredevil, with this being one of the only 2 figures we have, including the minimates, it looks good. Here it is next to the season 2 suit. I feel like these look incredible together. These are super good figures. I'm so thankful Mezco decided to make them. In 2020, Hasbro released their Marvel Legends Spider-Man Retro Wave 1, which included this armored Daredevil, and this figure's articulation sucked. It had beautiful paint, an unmasked Daredevil head for the first time since the Walgreens figure. These are the only 2 Daredevil comic book figures that come with the unmasked head, and I just don't like the figure. It's got beautiful paint, but the figure just doesn't move very well, and for that, I give it like a 6 out of 10. It's not a bad figure, but it's not a great figure. Speaking of bad figures, the 2021 Marvel Legends Kenner Wave 2 3.75-inch Daredevil. I don't know what Hasbro is thinking with this line. He can move a little bit. I mean, in all honesty, this figure's a piece of junk. I hate this figure. Not even worth the time. Get out of here. In 2021, LEGO would release their Daily Bugle, which retailed for $350. And this set came with the first and only LEGO Daredevil minifigure. Despite the character appearing in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2, this is the first time we are actually getting a Daredevil minifigure, and they took some liberties with the design. Kind of reminds me of Fortnite Daredevil. There's not a whole lot to go over. You can take off the head and put on a Minimates accessory on here, which we'll go over a little bit later. I kind of filmed this out of order, but you can do that. There are some custom parts you can get from Firestar Toys to make this look more like a Marco Cicchetto design Daredevil. Again, another Minimates accessory that doesn't go with this figure. But man, it is my favorite LEGO minifigure. Simply because it's Daredevil. I mean, come on. I love LEGO. I love Daredevil. Of course, it's going to be my favorite. 10 out of 10. On to the next one. In 2022, Marvel Legends would release a Marvel Unlimited tie-in figure. This is the retro carded Daredevil, and I did open this one. This is the Bucky Cap Daredevil I have. It's the only one I have because I can't stand it. Here you can see it next to the 2009 Nemesis figure, and man, the yellow looks better, but I think the rest of the paint doesn't look better. I think the colors on the Nemesis wave are actually better than this one, which is unfortunate because for whatever reason, I know the reason. This figure came out around the time She-Hulk was coming out. They wanted the synergy in the She-Hulk show. Daredevil uses a yellow and red suit. In the comics, it's yellow and black. So they decided to make this a yellow and red Daredevil, more so than the Walgreens exclusive. This figure, the only difference between this one and the older Bucky Cap Daredevils is that this one has hinges on the hands that go up and down instead of side to side. That's it. This figure has inaccurate gray billy clubs, silver billy clubs. In the comics, when he's in the yellow suit, it should be brown billy clubs. I don't know what they were really thinking with this figure. Despite having artwork all over the box showing off the history of this suit, they did not really listen or did not visually process how the suit is supposed to look. Regardless, though, I actually really like the way this figure looks, even with how inaccurate it is. But yeah, something along the colors of this Legend Showdown Toy Biz figure would have been so much better on this figure. But thankfully, this was the last Bucky Cap Daredevil figure we ended up getting from Hasbro. Good riddance, because I hate this body mold. I can't stand it. But yeah, overall, decent figure. I like it. I'd give it a solid 6, maybe 7 out of 10. Good figure overall, though. Nothing terrible. Not as bad as that Nemesis Wave one. But I'm going to go ahead and compare it to some figures real quick just for fun. Because there are so many of these Bucky Cap figures. Here he is next to Kingpin. All of these Bucky Cap Daredevils are going to scale the same with the figures I'm showing off. So Defenders 4-pack Daredevil's going to scale the same with this Kingpin as this one would, or the Stealth Suit one, or the original Hobgoblin Daredevil. Here he is next to the Marvel Legends Hand Ninja. These Hand Ninja figures kind of suck. I don't like them a whole lot. But then again, here he is next to Mr. Hyde, the Build-A-Figure from the Shang-Chi wave. Yes, Mr. Hyde is a Daredevil villain. He's also a Thor villain. Here he is to the Stilt Man with only one set of legs on him. So yeah, Stilt Man is obviously going to be taller than him. And of course, how could I show off a yellow Daredevil without the Leapfrog or Frog Man? Technically two different characters, but who knows. And here he is with the Mafex and the Daredevil from Hasbro's 3-pack, which into 2022, we also got this 3-pack, just to keep it rolling. This 3-pack had Bullseye and Elektra in it, super solid figures, and this is the first time we're getting a quote-unquote super articulated figure from Hasbro. It is also the first time we're getting a pinless Daredevil figure from Hasbro, and the second time we're getting a Daredevil figure that is pinless since the original Spider-Man Classics Wave Daredevil figure. And man, this figure is lacking in paint, but I don't mind it because it reminds me of the artwork from the Brian Michael Bendis run of the Daredevil comics from Alex Maleev. Of course, this figure has billy clubs, but these billy clubs do not connect together like the other billy clubs do. It has the same style of billy clubs that the Stealth Suit has, in which they connect to this rope piece. I say rope with air quotations because, of course, this is not a rope. This is a piece of plastic, but does give off an action effect, even though when you give it to the figure kind of struggles to hold it. The rope kind of wants to flop around. The hands that came with this figure, the gripping hands, do not hold on to the billy clubs the best, unfortunately. They do struggle a little bit to hold on to those billy clubs. But regardless, this is just such a good figure. I remember I got this figure earlier than everyone else because I may or may not have paid double retail cost. I may have paid somewhere close to $150 to get this 2-pack like a week or so earlier than everyone else. And then I ended up getting my 2-pack from Pulse. So I'm pointing at 2 of these guys. They don't anymore. I gave it to Finn. Shout out to Finn Deets on Instagram. Love you, Finny. But yeah, no, this figure can move. The only real problem I have with this figure is going to be how shiny the torso is. But of course, you've got this double ball joint in the neck. You have got it's the same articulation as the Renew Your Vows. Most of you have it, but if you don't, he's got the butterfly joints. He's got the double ball joint at the neck. He's got a swivel at the upper shoulder joint. He has got those double jointed arms. He has got the hands that have the hinge on them. They peg into the figure so they can rotate and they've got a hinge. He's got the kind of ball joint at the torso. He's got an ab crunch, which is incredible. This figure also does have drop-down legs, if ever so slightly. They do drop down. He's got the swivel at the upper thigh. And he can just kick so high. I mean, look at that. Let me straighten him out a little bit more just to show you I'm not exaggerating. Look at how high this guy can kick. What an incredible figure. He's got the double jointed knees. He has got ankle rocker, toe joint. He's got calf rotation. And this Daredevil could really just move and groove any which way you kind of need them to, which is why I love this Daredevil. What it is lacking in paint detail, it makes up for in articulation, even though it could have really used some more paint detail. I still love this figure to death. There's not much else to say. I can only glaze the figure so much, and this isn't even the best figure on this mold. So let's just go ahead and continue and get on to some more Daredevil figures. But first, I want to go ahead and compare him to the Hand Ninja. There he is with that Hand Ninja that I don't like. There he is by himself, but then here he is with the Bushwhacker figure, which I absolutely love this Bushwhacker figure. Then I'm going to compare him to, of course, Bullseye, but not the Bullseye from the set, because I don't like the Bullseye from the 3-pack set. Then, of course, I'm going to go ahead and compare this Daredevil to the Elektra figure from this 2-pack. They look super good together. I'm going to compare him to the Lady Bullseye figure, which she does not like standing on her own. But I believe these two were interacting around the same time as the Bendis run. This may have been from the Brubaker run, right after the Bendis run. But yeah, and then of course I'm going to show him next to the Leapfrog. There he is next to him. Looks super good. And then of course, how can I show off a Daredevil without comparing him to Kingpin? And yep, as you expected, Kingpin is a lot bigger than him. And of course, here he is next to the Mafex Spider-Man for a size comparison. In 2023, we got the Marvel Legends Marvel Knights Mindless Build-A-Figure Wave Daredevil. This is King Daredevil. This is from the comic arc by Chip Zdarsky and Marco Checchetto. I hope I pronounced that right. I'm sorry. This figure is called King Daredevil. This is when he's married to Elektra. He has got this dual-bladed staff weapon, and he's also got his billy clubs with the holster on the right. This is the other figure with the holster on the right. But yeah, super solid figure. I'm surprised Hasbro put it out so quickly. But this figure goes perfectly with the next Daredevil we're going to take a look at. Also released in 2023 was the Marvel Legends Retro Spider-Man Wave Woman Without Fear Daredevil, Elektra Daredevil. Super solid figure. This figure had a scarf that would cover up that gorgeous Elektra head sculpt right there. She came with her sai. This figure is super dynamic. I mean, just in a vanilla pose, you've got her kind of waist strap flowing in the wind, I guess. Super big ponytail. I like this figure a lot. It's got super good articulation. It's more of a modern female articulation with those double jointed elbows and stuff. Unfortunately, just like the 3-pack Elektra, it is missing any sort of torso articulation, as in an ab crunch, because this figure can bend back pretty good. It cannot bend forward worth a squat. But yeah, even with how big these legs are, they still have the cut on the upper thigh. They've got double jointed knees. They have got the calf rotation, and you've got the foot articulation with the ankle rocker. But yeah, no, what I like to do is I like to take off this Daredevil head sculpt, and I like to put on the head sculpt from the 3-pack with the Elektra with the wild hair, once again based off the Marco Checchetto artwork. Again, I hope I pronounced that right. But yeah, just look at how beautiful it looks with this head sculpt on it. I mean, I wish the figure had come with it. I kind of understand why it didn't, because this is a giant piece of plastic, but it is fantastic. It is sensational. I love the way this figure works. Unfortunately, with the head sculpt on the figure, it makes the figure quite hard to stand. You really need to take time to stand the figure if you're going to use this head sculpt, because it is, like I said, it's a giant piece of plastic. It is not easy to stand. But I would say this is a very solid Elektra figure. I'm going to go ahead and compare her real quick to one of the Daredevil figures, starting with Lady Bullseye. These two don't really fight that much, but I didn't have a Typhoid Mary ready. Can't compare her to anybody but Bullseye. That is her true nemesis, in my opinion, is Bullseye. So there he is. And next, we're going to compare her to Daredevil. And I think they look decent together. Unfortunately, my King Daredevil did not come in time for the retrospective, so I just had to use the 3-pack one. And I think they look good, but I'm going to compare her to the 3-pack Elektra. And, of course, she looked good. She looked real good. Solid figure overall. Here she is next to Mayfix Spider-Man and the 3-pack Daredevil again. Good scale figure. I think they did a good job with the scaling on this one. Also in 2023, we got the Marvel Legends Spider-Man No Way Home Matt Murdock figure, and this figure is a peg warmer. This figure peg warmed hard because it is a guy in a suit. He does have a head sculpt that does not look like Charlie Cox, especially if you manage to take the glasses off, which I'm going to go ahead and do for you guys right here because I want you to see that this is not Charlie Cox under here. I don't know who that is, but that ain't Charlie. I don't know what who they're tricking or what they're trying to pull right here. But that is not Charlie Cox. And I'll go ahead and do a head swap for you so you can see what it looks like with the Charlie Cox head sculpt. Here's the figure with the glasses on the Defenders 5-pack Charlie Cox Daredevil head. The head does not fit on the body very well. It just sits too low on the neck. Does not look good. Unfortunately, if you want a good suited Charlie Cox Daredevil, you're either going to have to use blue tack with that Defenders 5-pack head, get a custom head, or you're going to have to suffer with this head and just keep the glasses on it. Because with the glasses, it doesn't look bad. The glasses do hide that ugly face, but here he is next to the Kingpin figure from the Hawkeye show. And both of these were mega peg warmers, unfortunately. Also, here he is next to the Mezco Toyz Daredevil. They look super good next to each other, as they should. Up next, I'm going to go ahead and show him with the Marvel Legends figure with the Mezco Toyz head sculpt on him. And they look super good as well. I'm super happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and just remove that head sculpt real quick to show him with the original Marvel Legends head sculpt. There he is. And they look even better together. I really like that. And of course, here he is next to Mayfix Spider-Man and the 3-pack Daredevil. In 2024, Minimates is in a rough spot. The waves are now multi-packs. So as part of wave 84, we have the Woman Without Fear 5-pack, which comes with Daredevil Elektra. And she looks super good. I really like her figure. You can take her hair off to give her that bald look from the 90s if you want. But of course, she comes with a cowled head with a scarf that just blows in the wind and that beautiful curly hair. The figure looks super good. But I also want to take a look at this Daredevil back here because this is the first yellow Daredevil we've gotten since wave 1 of the Minimates. It has been 84 waves since we have gotten a yellow Daredevil. And that is absolutely insane. This figure has a lot of improvements. Again, it's using that yellow and black costume with red detailing. This guy's got the hair for the Matt Murdock head. It has got a billy club with the kind of rope attachment, but it also comes with a, like you saw with that Lego Daredevil earlier, this is where that effect piece comes from. It comes from this Daredevil mini-mate right here. Of course, the Daredevil comes with the standard billy clubs as well, but you can kind of see just how neon yellow that original mini-mate was compared to this one. I think the paint apps on this new one are a lot better. But man, it is incredible to see how far they've come in about 22 years in 84 waves and 2 different businesses. So really cool. He also comes with a Wolverine cowl to make the character D-Man, who was killed off in Captain America Brave New World. He wasn't even in costume, but the character was killed off. He's an Avengers character, I'm pretty sure, Captain America character. But yeah, no, we got this for Daredevil, not for T-Man. But yeah, I'm super happy with these 2 Minimates. They both look sensational. 10 out of 10. Good job, Minimates team. In 2024, we got a Marvel Legends Spider-Man The Animated Series VHS 2-pack featuring Daredevil and Hydro Man. And I'm not even going to disgrace your screen by showing you that Hydro Man. This is all about the Daredevil. And this Daredevil is, again, on the same body as the 3-pack Daredevil. Similar body to Renew Your Vows. I think the only difference is the arms are changed out. But yeah, this Daredevil came with an angry head. He is covered in cell shading, but that angry head looks so good. He comes with the neutral head right here. A little hard to get on there. But yeah, this figure is entirely the same shade of red, just like the last one. Even the same shade of red as the other figure. But it's got black cell shading all over it, which provides a really nice contrasting look for this figure. He comes with the not the wire, but the plastic wire for his billy clubs. But this figure also comes with something no Daredevils come with, at least for Legends, which is wide open hands. And with these hands, you can kind of put them into that, I had to do it to him pose. So this is a really good figure. It's unfortunate that Hasbro for the past couple of years has been holding classic Red Suit Daredevils hostage in these multi-packs. We have not gotten a classic Red Suit Daredevil since 2014's Hobgoblin Wave as a single released figure. The Defenders 4-pack, they held him hostage. The 3-pack, they held him hostage. And again, in this VHS 2-pack, they held him hostage. And this figure's value is insane. But here he is next to the Bullseye right here. He looks super good with Bullseye, classic Frank Miller look right there. We need a new Bullseye. And also here he is with that 3-pack Elektra. Again, oh my God, they look incredible together. Here he is with the retro Kingpin figure. This is kind of my Frank Miller quadfecta, I guess you would call it. Like, these are the 4 characters I feel like go together. Absolutely incredible to see these figures together. I love them. I adore them. And here he is with the Mafex Spider-Man, and again, the 3-pack Daredevil. In 2024, we got the GOAT of all Daredevil figures with the Medicom Mafex number 223 Daredevil figure. And this guy is the peak Daredevil comic figure. I don't think we're going to get a Daredevil comic figure that tops this anytime soon. Certainly not from Hasbro, although their 3-pack Daredevil and their VHS Daredevil are very good. They're solid, like 9 out of 10 figures. This is, in my opinion, a perfect figure. This guy's buttery smooth. He's easy to pose. He has a bunch of really good accessories. The sculpt work is solid on this guy. The paint work is solid. He's got shading all throughout. He is large, but not too large. Slightly taller than the Hasbro ones. The scaling is good. Proportionally, he's pretty good. Articulation-wise, I mean, look at this guy. His head moves around. Butterfly joints just move forward. They move backwards. That's so clean. I mean, look at he can double-jointed elbows. He's got the mushroom peg. Not even mushroom peg, just the peg wrists, which you just plop the hand onto. And man, this guy can groove. This guy can move. Look at how far back he can go. Just incredible. You can go left. You can go right. I mean, this guy is the most articulated Daredevil figure. I think the only thing he can't do better than Legends is maybe kick up quite as far. But look at that. I mean, he can double jointed knees. He's got the toe articulation. Pinless. He just looks so good. This is one of 4 pinless Daredevil figures out there, including the Toy Biz Classics and the 2 more recent Hasbro Legends Daredevils. But yeah, man, this guy is just so smooth. He can pose super easily. I'm not the best poser. I've never claimed to be the best poser. But yeah, no, he's also got some alternative heads. Let's go ahead and take a look at the very angry, screaming head that he comes with, which I adore this head. You can just see the anger, and it looks good. And his mouth is actually open all the way. And then, of course, you've also got the angry, gritting teeth head, similar to the Daredevil VHS figure, except this one I think looks a lot more distressed, a lot angrier. Just truly, truly incredible. This figure can cover all of its bases, whether it be a Frank Miller figure, an overall Daredevil figure, an Ascenti Daredevil figure. This is a do-all figure right here. And something else cool is that the holster, the nunchucks don't go in the holster. The billy clubs, they don't go in the holster. There is a separate holster. There's a holster for if you want him to have one billy club in his hand. You just pop that on there. It's in a ball joint. And then the billy club gets out of the way of articulation because it is on that ball joint system, which is super innovative. I don't know why anybody else has failed to think of it. I have seen QC issues where the ball joints of these holsters get stuck in there and break off, but luckily that hasn't happened to me yet. He's also got another holster with all of the with both the billy clubs in there. He has got a wired billy club with the hook on it, which we haven't seen since the Toy Biz Urban Legends and Classics Daredevil figure from the very beginning of the video. He's got a another wired billy club, which is just two billy clubs with a giant wire, which is incredible. It is so much better than this junk that Hasbro is giving us right here. I mean, this thing, you can pose it. You just got to be careful not to snap it off near the base of the billy club. But man, Metacom, Mafex, they went all out on this figure. And on top of that, I'm just going to show off some of the billy clubs. So here is the kind of billy club that you would have gotten with the Walgreens exclusive figure compared to the individual billy clubs that we got here. These ones don't connect, which I don't care about as much as I do the wired billy clubs. Those are peak. We've also got the billy club from the Nemesis Wave Daredevil, which no, even though they're tiny, they do not fit in this guy's hand. He will ruin his hands by trying to force that in there. But those pitiful billy clubs, man, get those billy clubs out of there. Look at how small they are compared to his billy clubs. Oh. But no, yeah, this Daredevil's got the peak billy club collection. That is for sure. You've got all those different options. I'm going to go ahead and pull out another billy club, which is the Urban Legends billy club with the hook, and you could see that we are finally getting another hook, which, by the way, this new hook, I know from experience, I would not recommend doing it, but it is strong enough to support the Daredevil from the ceiling. And then here we are. We have the face-off 2-pack billy clubs compared to the wired ones. And then we're just going to go take it all the way back to the beginning, and here are the Affleck billy clubs from the very first Legends Daredevil. Yeah, even though they both have metal, these ones are wired, so you can pose them. The Affleck one just had chains. And lastly, we have the very original billy clubs from the Spider-Man Classics Wave 2 figure. And man, let me just line up all the billy clubs real quick like a cop doing a drug bust and showing off his haul. Man, put these guys in order real quick. I still like those Affleck ones just because the chains are so cool. But yeah, we've got so many different billy club options for Daredevil, and that's not even including third-party billy clubs. Because there are billy clubs that are third-party that are either wired or they're magnetic. There are just so many options out there for billy clubs now. Just look at that. That's 7 different options right there just with these billy clubs. There's more because I didn't even show off the Mezco billy clubs. Oh, here's an 8th option right here. Like, what a time to be a collector with all these different options for not only a Daredevil figure, but Daredevil billy clubs. This, I guess, this retrospective isn't just for Daredevil figures, it's for the billy clubs. You can see that clear evolution from the strings to the connections to the plastic pieces holding them together to wired billy clubs. But real quick, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and do a comparison real quick. Let me put this guy in a decent vanilla pose. I'm going to go ahead and grab some figures to compare this guy with. First, I'm going to do the Bucky Cap Marvel Unlimited exclusive first appearance Daredevil. This guy's taller. This guy looks better. He's got better colors. Here he is next to Bullseye with the broken ankle. Maybe you shouldn't have killed Foggy, Bullseye. Jesus. But no. Then I'm going to go ahead and compare him to, let's do Elektra, and these, they look so good. They look so good. Let me get Bullseye out of there. Throw in the leapfrog right here. Yes, sir. Oh, those look good too, man. This Daredevil could really go with any figure, man. Let me go ahead and grab, how about Kingpin? See how he looks with Kingpin? Oh, yeah, those look dynamite. That is gas right there. That is, yes, sir. Metacom, please make me a Mafex Kingpin, please. Let's grab Mr. Hyde. Mr. Hyde with this Daredevil. Absolutely giant Build-A-Figure right here. Of course, he's going to look good with him as well. Yeah, just 2 giant dudes. Daredevil's about to get absolutely wrecked. Man, I could not be happier with this figure. But let me get some more figures. Let's go ahead and do Bushwhacker. Bushwhacker's going to be another solid one. Of course, the Punisher from that Bushwhacker 2-pack. Yeah, that's the money shot. That is indeed the money shot. Let's grab his best love interest, Black Widow. Natasha Romanoff. They look great together as well. Let's see. Let's grab Mayfex Spider-Man. Yes, sir. That is biblically accurate. I like that. I do quite enjoy those two figures next to each other. They look good. Grab another villain. Let's grab Nuke from Born Again, from the Born Again comic book by Frank Miller. Those two look good together as well. But yeah, I cannot be happier with this Daredevil. Here he is with a hand ninja, which I do hate those hand ninjas. But yeah, this is a peak Daredevil figure. I couldn't be happier. And let's look at the final evolution, starting with the Spider-Man Classics Toy Biz Daredevil. Then we're going to move on to the Ben Affleck Marvel Legends Series 3 Daredevil. And after that, we are going to go ahead and we are going to take a look at the Urban Legends / Spider-Man Classics Daredevil right here. Same body mold, just different paint apps on them. But, you know, we're just going to take a look at the overall figures. Next, I'm going to go and grab the Face-Off 2-pack Daredevil. So you can see that they are starting to get taller as we go on. The colors, they're getting a lot bolder with their colors. And then we're going to go 2 steps back with this Nemesis Wave Daredevil that does not like to stand. He actually gets smaller, although I do like his shades of yellow on there. Very solid. Again, we're going to get taller with this this Bucky Cap Daredevil, which I'm not a fan of that Bucky Cap mold, but it served us well. It served us well for a good number of years. Let's take a look at this Mezco Daredevil, get him in there. And after that, we are going to go ahead and take a look at the, let's do the Charlie Cox one. That's what comes next in this retrospective. So yeah, you can see that we are now at a modern, true 6-inch scale based off of what modern collectors have in their collection. Let's grab the Mezco one. Absolutely love that figure. Super good figure right there. We are going to grab the Vigilante Daredevil next, and you can see just how tall that Vigilante Daredevil is. It's really all in the neck. That Joker body was not doing them favors, but then we're going to go ahead and we are going to grab the 3-pack Daredevil. We'll throw him right in the middle. That is a good-sized comic figure, a little dated though. We're going to continue with the No Way Home Matt Murdock, who is a little shorter, but he's in his civilian gear. He's not wearing those boots. Next up, we have got the Mayfex Daredevil right there. And I may have forgotten to put Elektra in here. But that is okay. We're just focusing on Matt Murdock right now. But yeah, if I were to recommend any 2 Daredevils, by far the Mayfex Daredevil, if you can find him, you just got to reissue him, he's still super hard to find, is this Daredevil. Comparing the most recent Daredevil to the first Daredevil, we have come so far in terms of sculpt, articulation, paint apps. We're at the top of the world. I'm the king of the world. But no, this is truly incredible to see. We've got Toy Biz, a domestic figure next to an import figure. Never in a million years did I think we would get an import Daredevil figure. So I'm super happy that we got that figure right there. And here is the first Spider-Man Classics Daredevil next to the 3-pack Daredevil. Kind of showing off all red Daredevil figures right here. But more so just wanted to show off the evolution of where we've come with Marvel Legends. Even though the first one was a Marvel Legends, we count it as a community, we count it as a Marvel Legends. But yeah, no, I think the best Daredevil figure by far is this Mayfex one. I think if there is an alternative, I would have to give it to the VHS 2-pack Daredevil, even though that figure went up in prices, skyrocketed. Even though it was held hostage with that Hydro Man, it is still a very sought-after figure. Many people have bought the 2-pack, myself included, specifically for this Daredevil. But yeah, I could not be happier with these 2 figures. I don't think there's a right or a wrong figure, but there are a couple of things I would like to see with Daredevil figures going forward. So the question is, what is next for Daredevil figures? And I feel like beyond the Daredevil Born Again figure, which Hasbro's already announced, the next step would be more comic figures, specifically based off the artwork of Marco Cicchetto. He had a fantastic design for the character. A lot of fans have been buying G.I. Joes to use those parts to create customs of those figures. And I think they look really good. I feel like Hasbro should make a figure that they can then reuse to do an all-white Daredevil, the God of Hand look from the Zdarsky run that Marco Cicchetto drew for. I feel like that'd be a really good step in the right direction. Beyond comic figures, I feel like a She-Hulk Daredevil figure would be good, because that body mold can then be used for a Season 2 Daredevil. It could be reused for a Bullseye figure. It could be reused for an Echo Daredevil. There are so many possibilities what you could do with that body mold if they were to do a She-Hulk Daredevil figure. And lastly, I feel like Mezco Toyz should revisit the Daredevil character like they have been doing with Captain America, Spider-Man, and they've just put out a Thor, all based off of 60s comic book looks. I feel like Daredevil should be the next character that they revisit to do a 60s style Daredevil. I feel like they would knock it out of the park. They would be able to use more cloth goods, and they would have to use pleather materials like they have in the past. Those pleather materials are terrible. So definitely I feel like Mezco should look at investing into a 60s Daredevil figure. Crimson Collector on Instagram, he made these incredible photoshops of a first appearance yellow and red suit Daredevil, and also of a black and red stealth suit Daredevil. I would really love to see Mafex do more Daredevil stuff. Maybe not Daredevil himself, maybe Elektra or Bullseye. I'd love to see those two figures come from Mafex. I'd also love to see Mafex do a Hulk figure, an Incredible Hulk. That'd be cool. Not Daredevil related at all. Back to what I'm talking about though, Daredevil. I would also love to see maybe SH Figure Arts take a swing at a Daredevil figure, a Born Again figure. They did do Falcon and the Winter Soldier figures for Disney+. Those are the only Disney+ show figures that they ever made. I would love to see them do some Daredevil Born Again figures. That'd be really cool to see. I'm not banking on it, though. The last thing I would really love to see for a Daredevil figure would be a new Ben Affleck Daredevil figure. Unfortunately, while Ben Affleck's Daredevil was in the Deadpool and Wolverine concept art, his character did not make it into the movie. Arbiter8001 on Instagram has made some great Daredevil 2003 customs using the Power Rangers, a Power Rangers body mold, as well as the original 2003 Toy Biz figure. I'd love for Hasbro to revisit it. They really just need to do a legacy collection based on all the old movies. I'm not sure why they haven't yet, probably because they are scared it will not sell well. To be honest, it might not, but I feel like that movie has gained a new found cult following. I feel like there's a lot of new fans of the movie. And frankly, I think the movie got way too much flack. It was a great movie, very comic accurate. The only thing I would say is probably inaccurate in the movie is the characterization of Elektra. Just how her story plays out was not entirely accurate to the character. That was probably my biggest gripe with the movie, but it was a great movie overall. I would love to see Hasbro make a Ben Affleck Daredevil figure. Thank you for watching this Daredevil retrospective. I know it was long. I know I did not sound well. I am very sick. But nonetheless, I appreciate you watching the video. It means a lot to me. And thank you. I hope you enjoyed.